What's happening, boys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to your Friday night Smackdown review. And today was an interesting episode. It was absolutely stacked with stuff, so we're going to get straight into it. So we kicked off the show with a Cody Rhodes promo, and he officially stated that he is medically cleared to compete again. So his big question to us all was, what's next for Cody Rhodes? And then out of nowhere, Ricky Saints music hit. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really disappointed in the crowd here because they literally gave him zero pop. They couldn't have cared less about him. I don't know if the crowd was really bad tonight or if Ricky Saints just isn't going to get over, but I don't know. I'm definitely going to give him the benefit of the doubt because this crowd was absolutely shocking all night. So I'm going to just say this was the crowd and hope that the next show he can get a better reaction, because this isn't going to look good if he's getting absolutely no reaction from a crowd, which is not good. However, what was good was the promo. The promo between these two was really good. Ricky Saints tried to introduce himself to the crowd. He said a couple one-liners and they didn't really bite. He got a couple boos, but nothing serious. But a little bit of heel heat. Nothing crazy though. So they went straight into the promo where Cody just asked him straight up, "Why are you here? What do you want?" And Ricky Saints went, "It's to change the game, he wants the title." And Cody went, "What makes you think you can beat me? We've been down this road before, we've done this rivalry, we've done it in AEW, we've done it in other companies." And he went, "You've changed. You're the one who's changed. You've aged like 30 years holding these championships. You're not the same." And Cody basically bit, and he was like, "You want a match in that case?" Like, he got a little bit like frustrated with him, and he's like, you think you can actually beat me?" So he gave him a match. And I think these two really bounced off each other really well, which is no surprise because they're real life friends. But yeah, this promo was pretty solid and a good introduction to Ricky Saints. I really hope the crowd will bite onto him because like this, it just shows what he can do. And we went from one side of the spectrum to the complete opposite side of the spectrum. We went to JC Jane and Fatal Influence, who cut a promo just before their match, and the amount of heel heat they were getting, they could get heat in an empty stadium. It's genuinely absolutely insane how over these women are in such a short amount of time. And their promo was short and sweet and highly effective in my opinion. They literally just said they're set out to kill the legends and that's what they're going to do. And then the match started and the match was solid between these two. JC Jane did not look out of place whatsoever playing with such a high flyer as Charlotte Flair. Like, it was unbelievable how like in her zone she looked, like she was playing along with the crowd. Her in-ring presence is unbelievable. She just like taunts the crowd all the time. It's really, really good. She's got like that in-ring IQ, which you wouldn't normally see in an NXT call-up. But I really enjoyed the match. Charlotte Flair showed some really good in-ring wrestling as well. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, she was pulling out some like head scissor like flips. I don't even know what they were, but they were very cool. But yeah, the match was solid, and the ending I really liked as well, because Fatal Influence ended up getting involved in the ending of the match where Fallon Henley took out Charlotte Flair's arms while she was trying to do the figure eight, and it costed her the match because she got distracted. Alexa Bliss went to take out Fallon Henley. Lena Reid hits her with this huge knee, which was pretty big, and then Charlotte Flair got very distracted, went to help out Alexa Bliss, took out Lena Reid, and then got hit with the Rolling Encore. It's such a cool finish. And then gets hit with a pen, 1, 2, 3, and JC Jane picks up a huge win against a multi-time champion. That'll do her wonders. And they weren't done there. They'd done a post-match beatdown on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and these lot just look like $1 million, honestly. And then Rhea Ripley came out, squashed Fallon Henley and Lena Reid, but JC Jane managed to get out her grips, and they had a little face-to-face with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, kind of like, will they coexist type thing. But maybe that's setting up a match in the future. I would not mind that, but it was interesting. But yeah, what a good segment. And then with a match I wasn't really too bothered about in the build-up, we had Fraxium versus R-Truth and Damian Priest, and overall the match was good. It just doesn't have any meaning behind it to me because the tag team division is currently dead. It's completely flat. But I do respect R-Truth and Damian Priest for putting these titles on the line basically every single week to try and make them feel a little bit more important. But overall, it's just not really doing much for me. I did enjoy the match. The match was really good. Fraxium were bouncing about like it was nothing. They were flying everywhere. So credit where credit's due to Fraxium. They had a really good match. The end of the match was an interesting choice, to say the least. Damian Priest literally squashed Fraxium. He hit Axiom with the South of Heaven, and then Nathan Fraser with the Razor's Edge. And I don't know if I like this, because he literally squashed two guys in 2 seconds, because, like, that's maybe a tag team, but Damian Priest is doing this on his own. What does that say about the tag team division? Like, he basically turned it into a handicap match. But yeah, the match wasn't bad, but I just don't know if I like the ending or not. Like, why is Damian Priest beating 2 guys on his own? Like, it's an interesting choice. But yeah, R-Truth and Damian Priest retain their titles. But yeah, a good match, but just the tag team division's dead. But after the match, the MFTs get involved, Talatonga and Solo Sikoa, and he literally destroyed everyone. He took Fraxium, he took Damian Priest, and took them to the cleaners. Like, Talatonga wiped out everyone this episode. Like, he was having fun. But it looks like the MFTs will be going after the Tag Team Championships once again for the 100th millionth time, but it is what it is. Like I say, the tag team division is absolutely dead, but I just respect that they're trying to do something with it, and if anything, it made Talo look like an absolute beast, being able to take out 3 people. So yeah, there's that. And then we had a really good solo promo that made him feel really important. He was basically stating that he's no one's lackey, and he can do stuff for himself, which, I mean, is pretty cool. He's standing up for himself, and I like to see that from Solo, because I don't want to see him just get pushed back to the behind the bloodline, because, like, that's just not where he belongs. I think he's actually really good. And then the Usos music hits, and they come out, and they're here to warn Solo Sikoa that Jacob Fatu is dangerous, and he's went off the rails, because he's now using the Tongan Death Grip, which is basically a sacred move in their, like, lineage, or their history, and it's only meant to be used as a last resort. The Usos are basically warning Solo that he's dangerous. Just let Roman deal with him. Like, there's no point trying to do anything, but Solo's having none of it. He's like, I'm going to deal with him. He's my problem. And we've got a problem with him that is the MFTs, because he took out the MFTs last week. The Usos are like, no, let Roman deal with this. This is, like, bigger than you. And then Solo's like, no, and goes to walk away, gives Tala a little nod, because he didn't follow originally. I thought there might have been a turn here, but no, Tala gets a nod and absolutely obliterates another tag team in the Usos in this episode. He's got, like, a body count of, like, 6 in this episode, which is unreal. But yeah, it makes Tala look unbelievable, which I really do like, but the Usos got absolutely bitched, in my opinion. But yeah, a good segment as well. It made Solo look really, like, powerful. Like, he's got a bit of control again, which I don't mind. There might be one thing that Solo might regret saying during his promo, because right at the end of the promo he went, tell Roman he's not my tribal chief, which we all know is dangerous to say, because Roman wants acknowledged by everyone. So Solo saying that might come back to bite him, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, like I say, a really good segment, because it made Solo look strong. And then we had the match between Ricky Saints and Cody Rhodes, and once again, Ricky Saints had another opportunity to get the fans on side with his entrance, and, like, maybe they'll understand what he's doing, but no pop whatsoever, absolutely nothing. So that's really disappointing, honestly. I think this might just be a crowd thing, like I said earlier. But we'll get into the actual match, and I think the match was good. It started off really quickly, like, there was a lot of hip tosses and stuff like that. Ricky Saints started really quickly. But as the match went on, Cody started to get into his rhythm and kind of just took out Ricky Saints. He didn't really stand a chance. He got a bit of offense in. He done his, like, Undertaker along the ropes thing. I'm not sure what that's called, but it's pretty cool. But Cody got into the match and basically just absolutely destroyed Ricky. Like, he didn't really stand a chance. He hit him with a crossroads, which I don't know if it was botched or just looked really nasty. But wow, it looked pretty nasty. And he gets pinned clean, and I'm really not sure about that decision, because, like, why are you getting pinned clean during his debut? Like, I don't know, does that really do much for his momentum? I understand that Cody is a world champion, and obviously you can't have your world champion lose clean, but why don't you do exactly what you done after the match? And this was actually a really nice surprise. Gunther interfered with the match at the end. Cody's about to celebrate, and he gets hit with a sleeper hold, and he gets put to sleep. And Gunther is clearly looking to go for the WWE title, which I do not mind whatsoever. That is one he hasn't won, and I think that is a fresh change that I'd like to see. And then we had our daily dose of Danhausen, and this segment was pretty fun. He basically became Miz's apprentice, essentially, and Miz is like, you're Miz Hausen now. And then he completely turns on him, because Kit Wilson comes out and begs him to turn on Danhausen. He's like, no, I choose Danhausen over him. He's now Miz Hausen. But it was all set up, and they beat the ever-living shit out of Danhausen. So, I mean, I guess it was a funnish segment. I don't know. It was fun for what it was. And then we had a match between Angel Garza and Royce Keys, and this was an absolute squash match for Royce Keys. He literally just obliterated Angel Garza. I kid you not, this match might have been 2 minutes at most. And to be honest, it was good for him. It benefits him. The cool part about this match, and I will be honest, this was really cool when watching it. Royce Keys hit a middle rope power slam like Randy Orton-esque. Oh my god, it was so nice. And Angel Garza looked like he got absolutely obliterated. And then he got hit with that big spine buster, which Royce Keys does really well. And yeah, it was just an absolute squash match. Doesn't benefit Garza whatsoever, but Royce Keys gets the benefit. And yeah, pretty cool match for Royce Keys. I'm glad they're just giving him wins because he seems decent. And then we had a backstage segment between Kiana James, Julia, Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. And the only reason I bring this up is because they're all vying for the US Women's Championship. And there was a little bit of tension there between Julia and Kiana James because Julia was basically ousted out of getting an opportunity. And Tiffany Stratton is going to give one to Kiana James, which I think is going to build that tension between Kiana James and Julia. So I'm seeing a split coming in the near future and possibly a feud between these two. Maybe Julia costs Kiana James the championship, or maybe Kiana James wins the championship. That would be a cool route to go down. But yeah, an interesting segment with the seeds being planted. And then we had a heartfelt conversation between Jacob Fatu and Royce Keys where they talked about their past and how they've worked together in the trenches. They've been there, they've done that, now they're upon the high life and they're here together and they're going to be working together. And it was a good heartfelt segment, ruined by the MFT and Talatonga because Talatonga literally sends Royce Keys to the ether realm. I don't know where he went. Might genuinely need to put out Mr. Posters after what I've seen. Like, he just disappeared through that table. Like, he's gone. And then Jacob Fatu got absolutely brutalised as well. So, like, he didn't fare very well either. But Talatonga just catching bodies like it was nothing tonight. And then we had an interesting promo from Sami Zayn where he talked about Bob Dylan and how he changed from a normal guitar to an electric guitar and his fans turned on him as well. He was basically trying to relate to the crowd because they were in the area Bob Dylan's from. It was an interesting promo. Not the biggest fan of it, but I guess it kind of got his message across that his fans are going to stay with him, at least the ones that have been there since day one. I quite like this gimmick of how in denial that Sami Zayn is that his fans have not turned on him and that he's still got ride or dies, which, I mean, it's interesting. I'm liking where they're going with this. But then he done something heinous, like criminal, like war crime, maybe. Like, he should be going to The Hague for this. He killed the gingerbread man. Like, he literally murdered someone on live TV. I don't know what to say about this. Like, even though if I can go into detail of how brutal this was, this might like genuinely get like straight for like how brutal it could be. But genuinely, it was fucking heinous. We watched someone get dismembered on telly. Like, it was crazy. His arm was pulled off and everything. But yeah, in all seriousness, like, wow, what was he doing? Why is he beating up the fucking gingerbread man statue? In all seriousness, like, why is the gingerbread man like a serious plot point in this feud? Like, because Trick Williams literally came out to save the gingerbread man. It was a statue with a costume on. Like, what are we doing, WWE? Like, what is this? But like, in all seriousness, like, for real, R.I.P. Gingy. He's dead. He literally got the news. They're holding a funeral for him next Friday. Like, are we serious? What's going on here? Like, come on. What are we doing? And then we had a Women's Tag Team Championship match between Brie Bella and Paige and the Irresistible Forces. And I'm going to be so honest, this match was awful. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. The sooner we get these belts off Paige and Brie Bella, the better. Because I'm going to say something probably quite controversial here and a bit of a hot take. I reckon we should have just left the Divas in the Divas era. They are nowhere near the level of what they should be nowadays, because these women that we have now are excellent in ring. They've got all these moves that you'd never see in the Divas era. Like, you've seen people slap people. Like, Paige was slapping Lash Legend. Like, that just doesn't happen now. It's a whole era before, like, where women's wrestling just wasn't catered for whatsoever. And these lot just don't belong anymore, unfortunately. I think they should have just been left in the past. Although the pop for Paige at WrestleMania was crazy, she's just not there anymore, and neither's Brie Bella, because, like, I think we're all sucked in by nostalgia, and unfortunately their era has been and gone, and we're into a new era of women's wrestling, which is not where they belong, because the likes of Lash Legend, Tiffany Stratton, you could even add, like, some of the NXT girls in there. Sol Ruka is a big one for me. Like, the way they wrestle is so, like, unique compared to how the women and the divas wrestled back then. Like, it's just not the level anymore. And I apologise if you like these divas or the women now, because, like, it's really sad to see, because, like, these are people from our childhood that we've watched and probably admired for a lot of us, but they're just not the level anymore, which is really unfortunate, and it's time to move on. Like they said, I've seen a lot of stuff saying AJ's packed up and left because she's seen her level and she's not it anymore. I definitely think there's an element of truth to that, so I think the sooner we get these belts off Brie Bella and Paige, the better. And Paige could definitely prove us wrong. She might just have ring rust, and that is totally fine, but from what I've seen, I'm just seeing a sad pattern. But anyways, enough of that. We're on to the main event, and the match was standard between the Usos and the MFTs. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. There was nothing to write home about. But the end of the match was much to write about, because Jacob Fatu got involved, and he literally destroyed Talatonga. He Samoan dropped him through the announce table, and that was a sick spot. And then he got solo, and the Tongan death gripped him. And then once again, for the second time in the episode, the Usos got absolutely bitched. Like, he walked through them like they were nothing. Like, not even, like, attacked them, he just, like, barged them out of the way. He was like, these lot, they're not even worth my time. Like, that's a former world champion that you've just disrespected. Like, it's not looking good for the Usos. They're just getting absolutely bitched, as I said. But it was a good way to end the episode. Jacob Fatu standing tall, getting ready for Backlash, ready for war with Roman Reigns. But yeah, this was a really stacked episode of Smackdown. A lot of things happened, and there was a lot of talking points today, so definitely a good watch. But that is it for my Smackdown review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of my opinions and maybe hot takes. If you agree, that's totally fair. If you don't, that's absolutely fair as well. You're entitled to your opinion, and I have no say in that. But once again, an absolute stacked episode of Smackdown. But anyways, that is it. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and even leave a comment. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say. But yeah, that's it. Root to it.